This is completely different, but we gotta carry on. So now we're gonna do the introduction once again. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on the radio show, the podcast, YouTube, Twitch, kick all that stuff. Let's see what's going on. Continue. No, don't worry about it.
Would love to do, and that is opening
gays, but also
Okay, there we
amplify.
go. Here we go. Picking up from 44:38. Second segment.
South Korea market set to reopen in a few minutes after a holiday on Monday. Let's
But
check
you're
what
still
investors should be watching and
ordered
bring in
by
Asia
cafe.
equities reporter
I
Yu
left everything
Young
charging in my
Lee.
office.
Yu Young, we're now expecting this new leveraged ETFs on Samsung and SK Hynix
So
to launch
this is
at a time when the Kospi,
tour
the South Korean equity
in its
markets are
rawest
not just the
form.
best performing in the
I
world, but
have
very,
to
very volatile as well.
multi-host,
What
right?
will this do
Because
to the markets?
I have the radio show, the podcast,
absolutely. So
the
South Korea
YouTube
is launching
channel
for the
going
first
all at
time
once.
single stock leverage ETF, which were previously
And,
banned because
halfway
of the
done with
risk
my
control.
soda.
But now the authorities
So,
are for the first time
let's
allowing
see
single stock leverage ETF,
what
and
we
they
have
are
in the
starting
chamber
with
to
Samsung
release.
and SK Hynix, which will make their debut listing tomorrow. So this is definitely going to add more volatility. Market participants are expecting blockbuster demand for this new leverage,
Cool J
single
right
stock
here.
leverage ETFs on Samsung and SK Hynix.
even exist yet.
Before the
That
launch
people
of
have
this
never
leverage
even.
ETF, which can magnify
When hip hop first
gains,
started,
also
there were no
amplify
managers.
losses. South Korean
There
market
were no
has
accountants that
really
believed in it.
big swings.
Record companies
It's
didn't even
really
believe it.
common to see
Nobody
intraday
believed in
swings
it.
of more than 5%.
How can you make a 5-year plan or 10-year plan on something that doesn't even exist yet, that people have never even heard of?
Thank you.
So just because a couple of these guys and girls and people out here made songs and made music and made contributions to this culture, or even dancers danced and made these contributions go, just because they didn't get rich, just because they weren't able to pile up millions or billions of dollars, does not mean that they didn't make a contribution to this culture. That does not mean that they didn't do something. They created an industry that we all ate off of. They created an industry that you eat off of.
Facts. I hope you saw the dirt in my nails right there, because I'm about to get my mani petty today. You heard me? Cool stuff. Let's check in the chamber, see what we got. Let me adjust that for you. So it can register on the camera, because I know you won't be able to see it.
This is Asia Trade. We're
This is
counting down
hard,
to
but it's
Asia's
part of the
major
settings that
market
I need to do.
opens. As we have seen that global risk-on rally hiding, of course, the U.S. cash markets have been closed, but at the same time, the
I also need to
risk-on
take
rally
out time
continues
to
as we're seeing oil
reach out to the
fall
people
on
that I care
optimism,
about.
perhaps, that we might see
So
negotiations
right
for the
now I'm
ceasefire
checking my
between
drive
the
to make
U.S.
sure
and
I have
Iran
everything
succeed.
that I need for
At least as
my
far as tech investors and investors watching the AI rally and wanting a piece of that are concerned, it
think I have
feels
almost
like
everything.
geopolitics, the war in Iran has been yesterday's news for weeks now, right? That momentum just continues being built when it comes to this particular part of the market in these very specific
I have the property
geographic
ones.
markets. The question I can share is
Oh,
whether
actually,
that
you know
can
what? I still have
continue
some
to
new
be
stuff.
sustained as we still have a great deal of uncertainty
Damn,
over what
Sandra,
happens
yo.
with
I got
this
these joints from
more
the
enduring
14th
truce.
too, man.
We'll be watching what happens with those negotiations at a time when we
I
are
got
seeing
you,
a little bit
Denise. I
more
got your
upside
stuff
in
too.
Japanese stocks early in the session. Perhaps a little bit of divergence with the topics, which is a little bit under pressure. But the Japanese, again, holding at that 158 level against the U.S. dollar. We have seen a little bit of strength on the overnight session as well as we're seeing the U.S.
These are
dollar
the
pretty
ones that
flat.
have
Of
not
course,
been
we
released.
have seen U.S. markets away, so liquidity might be a little bit flat. But what we'll be watching also is the JGB space in Japan, especially with the 10-year yield still hovering around highs that we haven't seen since 1996. But we actually had a little bit of a rally on JGBs, given Prime Minister Takaichi coming out with her new extra budget, but at the same time saying that there will be no more new bond issues on a calendar basis at least. Take a look at how South Korea is also opening. Of course, we've talked about the tech trade. We'll be watching those robotics names. We've seen a lot of momentum lately, and we're watching the Korean won, which still a little bit weak against the US dollar past that 1500 level. And of course, the ongoing labor conversations in Samsung continue to be in focus, but we're seeing that broad upside early in the session for Kospi right now, Heidi.
Broad upside being seen when it comes to what we're seeing with treasuries at the moment as well. In fact, at the moment, we're seeing treasuries rally across the curve on the speculation and optimism that potentially we see really this deal being done, right? Despite, of course, not a great deal of
just close
detail.
out with
We
this
had
one.
President Trump saying that it's sort of coming along, if you will, but
Let's start the
frenetic
day
trading
right,
when it
right?
comes to the treasury
let's
and the
start with
global
this one.
bond sell-off has certainly taken
This is
a
my
step
Mickey
back.
Mouse
But this
right
is
here.
what we're watching when it comes to
There you
oil
go.
as well. We're seeing that Brent crude seeing the upside of close to 2% at this point. This, as previously we saw oil holding sort of on that drop on these hopefulness that the negotiations will be extended into a more enduring sense of peace, if you will. We're also continuing to see the upside when it comes to European gas futures. That really is a supply demand side situation there as well. They are trading higher by just about 1%. We did see a little bit of a drop in the previous sessions, again on that progress,
This
but
is
that
my
started to
favorite
pick
part,
back
yeah.
up there as well. And as I mentioned, we are watching treasuries at the moment as we see a pretty broad-based rally across that curve.
No,
Let's
then you
bring
know
in,
what's going to be crazy?
Sherry, our next guest, for a little bit
Exploring
more
the
of what we should
system.
be watching, given how
But I'm not going to do
uncertain
that
these
till I move
markets
the
remain.
catalog.
This car is
That's going to
always
be another
evolving.
thing right there. I
But
have to
how
tell
much
my
smarter
visa.
can it get?
The goal is to really create oriental ecosystem around the car.
And the mobile private network allows you to do that. Cars connect infrastructure, opening up a wider range of possibilities.
I don't.
When hip hop first started, there were no managers. There were no accounts that believed in it. Record companies didn't even believe it. Nobody believed in it. How can you make a 5-year plan or a 10-year?
That's such a good point that I'm going to
When
use
hip hop first started, there were no managers.
for the marketing
There
campaign.
were no accounts that believed in it. Record companies didn't even believe it. Nobody believed in it. How can you make a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan
Where do we go
on
from
something
here?
that doesn't even exist yet? And people are
Yo, thank you, LL, for the alley, because for the investors, trying to explain Web3, blockchain, NFTs, my catalog, they don't understand. But I'm happy that LL Cool J just gave us the cosign. Thank you for the alley. I got you. I was dunking from 3. No problem. And keep the graphics, baby.
And we see potentially more upside.
Skills is real, baby.
What's happening in the Middle East remains a big
Yeah,
but I
boy.
think the signs are there
Okay,
that, both
so that'll start the new
eventually,
campaign.
US and Iran
Let's
will
go
have
and
some kind of compromise.
do what we
Maybe
do
not the kind of
best.
compromise that the market is completely happy with,
So,
but something that will
um,
work and perhaps kick the can down the road.
changing the avatars important.
And
You
that
know
may
what I
be
mean?
enough. I think the key thing markets are watching out for is the Strait of Hormuz. And what's interesting, and I've
So
been reading articles
this
of
puts
Bloomberg,
the
last 24
industry on
hours,
alert,
and,
right? It's
we're
pretty
seeing
cool stuff.
traffic slowly return to the Straits of Hormuz, with women saying that more than 30 vessels
All right,
have
so
crossed
now
the
that
Strait of
that's
Hormuz in
done,
the last 24
let me
hours.
go
So
to
that's
my
a positive
management
sign
real
from where I
quick.
see it. I mean, we're not gonna get a perfect solution, but
And
we get something that
let's
will be
let
enough to
them
satisfy
know
the markets.
we have a new campaign on
And
the
yet,
way.
regardless of what happens with the war in Iran, you still like the likes of Hong Kong and China. And we've seen this incredible optimism around potentially Huawei talking about this new way to really close the gap with TSMC. How much more potential is there in that sector?
Now,
Well,
there's a
I think,
delay here,
there is
but
potential in the
still,
technology sector, the AI sector. In fact, when it comes to
my team will know that
China,
we're
when it
moving.
comes to Hong Kong, I think one of the reasons
So,
why we're optimistic is also because you are seeing
Just make sure that we change the
to some extent,
system
Hong Kong
settings.
companies catching up with some of the major hyperscalers, the big tech companies in the US. The gap is slowly narrowing. And so China is not just about a domestic demand story, but also about an innovation, technology story. And that's one of the reasons why
This is
like
part of
China
the
and
fun
Hong
stuff,
Kong,
right?
You
get
and
to
we
do every
remain
once in a
positive.
while.
I mean, the
So,
valuations are not expensive. And China has a lot of
let's
firepower. They've got a
go.
very strong
Oh,
balance
there's a
sheet
delay
to
there
support
too.
the economy. They've got a huge stockpile of oil and energy reserves. So, the list goes on. You can come up with several reasons why one can remain positive on Hong Kong and China for the medium term. But clearly, as you mentioned, technology innovation is one of the areas that China is quickly catching up on.
Not to mention, I guess, the relatively successful way that it's been kind of shielded more than most economies from the ongoing energy crisis, right? Are there other specific sectors that you like when it comes to Chinese equities?
This one is pretty cool.
Well, I think when it comes to Chinese equities, domestic demand is clearly a factor as far as China is concerned.
All right, so that part is
The
done.
internet companies in China are clearly
Now, we
beneficiaries of
still
the
got to
domestic
order
demand.
some
And the Chinese government is quite intent on, boosting domestic demand in a
Continue
world
with this
that's
because
very
we are
fragile and fractured. I think, we've got
thin.
a huge Chinese population with a
And
huge amount of
let's get
savings,
this coffee
but
started.
a very cautious Chinese consumer. And I think the government is trying to inspire confidence, domestic tourism, domestic industries that will, essentially propel China in the next decade or so. So I think looking inward is also important. Industries in China that will benefit from the government's push towards domestic demand.
Open the dealership, see what we got going on there. While I take the pause,
Looking outside China, and obviously you
check
talked
the
about
markets
that
real quick.
preference for the A-share market. Do you think that anchor to emerging market equities or emerging market assets in general are still ways here? And are there opportunities for Asia EM, despite, of course, some of the sort of ongoing pressure on the energy front?
Open up your Baja apps.
Well, clearly,
Let's go news
Asia is
and
feeling the
crypto.
pressure from what's happening
Oh
with the
my
energy
goodness,
sector.
please, let me look at these dates.
But what's interesting
Oh, no,
is
no, no.
at the same
This we
time,
did
when you look
already.
at Asia ex Japan,
That's it. This is the only one that we need to
EX
cover for
days,
today.
it's actually
Let
outperformed
me see what
on
I
a regional
have
basis
in
compared to
my
US, Europe, and even
inventory.
Japan. So if you take the
See what we
MSCI
got for
Asia
sale
ex
for
Japan
y'all.
index, I think it's up more than 20% the last
GC3RS
time I looked. And of course, a lot of it is
was off.
coming of South Korea and Taiwan, but other markets that's going to be very positive for Asia ex Japan. And not
I
just
have
China
a
and Hong Kong,
yellow
but, other
Aventador
markets like Singapore as well.
at my Ferrari dealership. I need to move to Fort Lauderdale. So we could pull that car off the line as
My
well.
name is Adam Ferrari. I'm the
So we
CEO
get the
of
title
Phoenix
for that car and
Energy.
we're
I look forward to
negotiating
you
that
joining
car.
us on our next webinar where you can drill deeper into our bond offering.
Let's
We
go
currently offer two
here.
investment opportunities: a private placement bond offering for accredited investors with target annual interest rates between 9% and 13%.
See what we got.
Also, we offer a
Here we
registered bond
go, Adam
offering
Ferrari.
open
Come
to
on,
both.
man. They got the best marketing campaign
Yeah,
for
I'm
Florida,
glad
for
you
real.
mentioned Singapore because it's obviously overtaken Indonesia in terms of the size of the market. It's clearly a market that benefited from sort of the relative economic and political stability. Is it an interesting market for opportunities to you?
Definitely, I think if you're a medium to long-term investor, you cannot ignore Singapore. Singapore is seeing in some ways a revival or a re-engineering of sorts. In the last couple of years, the government has announced several initiatives in the Singapore stock market, and the government is putting money.
Oh, I see.
This is a lot of funds out to global fund managers to invest in Singapore, to attract money into Singapore stock market. Valuations
Okay,
are
there
not
we
high
go. That's why
in the Singapore
I was
stock
stuck
market.
on that
Dividend
terminal.
yield is very effective in Singapore. The
Okay,
Singapore
so let me
government has
set this up
extremely
once I
strong
know
balance
what I
sheet,
have in my inventory, and we can go from there.
And again, the list goes on, but I think the key thing
Moscatos,
is that the government now seems to intend on boosting the Singapore stock market as a capital market in the region, and it's doing
okay, I
it
got
quite successfully.
571. That means I
And
got
it's
11
dishing out
trade-ins.
quite a lot of money to do it.
Excellent.
A lot of changes in terms of corporate governance and other capital market reforms.
Veneno off the
And,
line,
all this will
Centenario
play
off
out
the
over the
line,
next 3 to 5
Sion's,
years.
all
And so
Sion's off the line,
clearly, I
Kuntash
think
is off the
global
line.
investors cannot ignore the
SVJs
Singapore
are
stock
good,
market.
Kuntash 25th off the line.
Which is sort of the narrative that we've seen play out here in Japan as well, right? When it comes to corporate governance reforms and really capital markets being the focus. Is there still more leeway for gains in this market, and has Prime Minister Takaichi done enough to alleviate market concerns
downtown Orlando? That's going to Fort Lauderdale, so take that car off the line.
I think Takaichi has been good for the stock market.
I have to call Miss Allison, ask her to help me with
at the same
that.
time, she's
Purple Viola's off the line for Aventadors.
And the Bank of Japan is
I have a yellow trade-in. 139 miles, 26.
We're not talking
Take
about
that one off the line
dramatic
too.
rate hikes
I'm
coming
gonna
up
change the
the
wheels on my
Bank.
car.
I think Takaichi's good relationship with
Purple
world
Viola's off the
leaders,
line.
along with the budget,
Um,
along with
Imola Green off the
BOJ
line.
not being too aggressive in terms of rate hikes, and as you mentioned, the reforms taking place
Nero
in Japan
Pegasus off the
can really
line.
come through. I mean, like,
4,000 miles, that's a
Asia,
24.
year to date,
That car's going to Dominican Republic.
the Japanese stock market has also done exceptionally well.
And we need to take the tint off that car.
So,
The owner does
clearly
not,
it's a
the
market
new owner
that
does not want
investors
tint on the car.
we are neutral on Japanese equities. We're not
so
underweight
we-
neutral, and we think that they're
Let's tell them we could deliver in 3
in
weeks.
Japan.
Vasu, where do you stand on traditional safe haven
Temerario,
assets
Purple
like
Viola
gold
off.
and
I
the
have
US
two of
dollar?
them, both of them off the line. Nero Pegasus, that one's definitely off the line.
Short term, gold is going to
Really
rise,
off the line.
potential
Yellow off the line, red off
because
the
of
line.
uncertainty with regards to interest rates, global monetary policy, what's happening
Aventador
in oil
S.
markets in terms of the potential for it to fuel inflation.
12,000
gold
miles.
has been treading water,
That's about it.
but our view over the next 12 months that gold would
Probably
potentially
gonna put this one for sale. It'll give me some time.
compared to where it is right now. which is
This yellow one
$4,500
is
an
not
ounce.
mine. That
Our
one's
view
that's
towards the US
color.
dollar is one where we think that the dollar is
Alright,
very
let's
strong,
go
relatively strong,
Aventador S20.
holding up very well, but we think that over the next 6 to 12 months, the
So
dollar is
now
weaker.
I have what I'm going to use for the campaign.
And markets
And
become
this car
more
is in
risk-on. I
Vegas, so
think
I'll
that's
probably
gonna
have
be a
Medina
dollar.
move this car to
Of course, the
California
dollar
for
will
me.
drift, but the dollar, we see the dollar actually beginning against most major currencies, including Asian currencies, and that's going to again be something positive for gold because gold is priced in US dollars become more affordable when the dollar
Alright.
weakens.
So
That's Emmanuel.
let's get
Great to
right
have
to
your
it just so I
insights,
can get it out of the
Managing
way.
Director at OCP.
2018 Lamborghini Aventador S, full PPF, Centrum Audio, Digio Titan Matte. The 2018 Aventador S represents the evolution of the brand's iconic V12 flagship. Building on the original Aventador formula, the S model introduced major improvements in handling and technology while preserving the loud, aggressive, and raw characteristics of the Italian beast. At its core is a naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12 producing 730 horsepower and 509 pound-feet of torque. Power sent to all four wheels through a 7-speed ISR automated manual transmission, launching the Aventador S from 0 to 60 in just 2.9 seconds and onward to a top speed exceeding 217 miles per hour. Well, that's not bad. 445,800 my price, 12,478 miles. Not a bad starter piece right here. You build your credit, you pay this off, I'll sell you anything in my inventory. VIN number ZHWUG4ZD3JLA 07139. Originally sold in LA, went on the car. Right now it is in Las Vegas, but we are shipping this car back. It should be there tomorrow. Alright, so let's just go over this MicroStrategy piece. MicroStrategy buys 24,869 Bitcoin for 2.1 billion. MicroStrategy Incorporated, doing business and strategy, purchased 24,869 Bitcoin for 2.01 billion during the week between May 11th and May 15th, according to the company's latest 8K Securities and Exchange Commission SEC filing released on Monday. The corporation purchased Bitcoin at an average price of about $80,985 per Bitcoin, including fees and expenses, according to the document. Strategy's total Bitcoin holdings after the most recent buy were 843,738. with a combined average purchase price of about $75,000 per Bitcoin. The total investment currently stands at about $63.87 billion. MicroStrategy stands in the red range of 3.01%, 159.89. Let me send this to corporate real quick, because I need to do this. Also, I need to hit a V. I need to hit a V because I gotta put V back to work.
60-foot or
No scare it. Entonces,
I hope you enjoy the new ride. The chaos has begun. Oh my goodness. So these are what they look like. And I don't know how many colors they have, but I can put it on screen. It's basically an infinite amount of colors. So these are the actual lights. I was hoping we could find one of the little track pieces. They're all going
top of the morning, V. Peace and blessings be with you. Wakanda forever. Saying hi to you from the other side of the pond. We have a lot of cool stuff coming up. We need you to get back active. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Let's schedule a meeting for Friday. Make time. Let me know from here to Friday within 72 hours when is a good time for you. And let's talk about everything that we got going on, because we should be on your side of the world towards the end of the year. Peace and blessings be with you. Holla at your boy. Bye. One last thing. You know, this Jay-Z stuff is going on, not this weekend, next weekend. And after that, we'll be in full position. So I'll let you know how everything goes. And I did send you all the marketing stuff so that you can put it on social media.
Install day is finally here, baby. I cannot wait
so
to see
done.
Chelsea's reaction. Now, while the team's working on the house, I wanted to backtrack a little bit, just let you guys know how we got here. So,
bombard us with this nonsense. Just shut this down, and let's order this cafe right here. Buenos días,
Sometimes people, when they're scared, has been filed in court with us. So he's full of shit. He's a little protected shit. He's the whole, she won't let me see that. You think if you file in court, they're going to say that you can't see your kid? No. He's full of shit. What do you think she was like being automatic about? After I had Freya, I remember the first day I laid off the bed and nobody was home. I had to like slide out of bed over my knees because I couldn't sit up. Because you know your stomach pump, they cut through the stomach pump to pull the baby out. So the stomach pump comes back together and sew your skin back together. So when they sew you back together, you're still separated. Everything's not together. You don't have the strength. That's why I don't understand why she wants to go through those things. Yes, she can. Why not? I'd like it to know the corpus stuff. Or the corpus that I stuck on this baby. I've done regular birth and I've done C-section. I would rather go to a regular birth than a C-section. Regular birth, you get up and move around. C-section, you're out for 2-3 weeks before you can actually do anything. Remember when I went to your soccer game the week after Freya was born? I was in so much pain. It was terrible. No, I was in a lot of pain. It was bad. So if your mom got a C-section, do the week after. Week after Christmas. So she got a C-section week after Christmas. Or you don't want to be there? You want to go to the hospital and see her? They're normally quiet, like a month. They don't cry a lot. First month they're still like.
Voy a hacer todo lo que puedo hacer, tengo que tener un artículo.
If you want, we can buy you a baby carrier. They have, look, they got these wraps. It makes it easy for you to get a baby on train. No, I was saying that you can carry the baby around without having to place it down. It makes it easy. Show you how to do it. And then you wrap the baby to you, and you play your video game while you sleep. No, you're not gonna ride it. It's like this baby. But you can like sit there with your video game, and baby doesn't sleep on you. It's like
No
all
sé si lo
snuggled
estoy
up.
haciendo bien, pero
You
con
hold it
el
like
tiempo
video game.
vamos a ver,
You go buy your
si, lo que tú puedes poner en la mesa.
learn how to do it.
Yo, tú sabes, todo lo mío ahí está en la mesa. No es perfecto, pero es, es lo que Dios me ha dado, la capacidad. So, estoy rezando mucho, hablando con Dios, meditando, descansando. Ayer me forcé. Yo estaba acostado ya a las 6 de la tarde. Aunque no me dormí, pero estaba descansando, estaba libre de mis pies. No salí a caminar, no nada. Me quedé ahí hasta que me dormí. Ya cuando hablé contigo ya me dormí. Y preparándome porque ahora Sí, no, te tuve que dar tu terapia para que te durmiera chile. No, pero hablamos mucho antes de tu dormirte. Sí, yo respondí todas tus preguntas. Ya yo hice mi parte. No, eso es parte de su terapia. Desde que te oí roncando.